Hello, my name is John Robert Burrow, and this is really my first YouTube video concerning photography that I've done face to face. I have other videos on this channel concerning editing and workflow processes, but just a little bit about me. I am a PhD candidate in history, thus a historian. I'm in the middle of my dissertation, actually, and I'm a husband, and I'm also an amateur photographer. And I want to emphasize that I'm not a professional, first off, but I wanted to talk today about getting better as a photographer. I want to emphasize the four really important ways of getting better at photography. And unlike a lot of other YouTube channels that I consume quite a bit, I wanted to focus more on practice and methods in the ideas and concepts of photography and getting better at photography, more so than gear or post-processing or things of that nature. So I think the first big step is we should learn all that we can while we can. I think that applies to post-processing, printing, camera techniques, you name it. We should be seeking new knowledge to better ourselves at what we do. Again, I do this all the time. I'm constantly trying to find ways of improving and making more efficient my own workflow. And of course, I have my own way of doing things, but I always try new things to see if it works for me. I think the other big rule is to shoot all that you can while you can as well. And there's really no easy way around this. If you want to get better at photography, you have to get out and shoot. There is no way around it. And I will preface this. You will, and I still continue to do so, create really terrible images. But by doing this, we develop our own style. It's a messy process, but it's probably one of the most important ones. You have to fail and make these really terrible photographs, and that's how we get better. But we don't just muck around and wallow in our failures. We have to pick up from them, choose which ones are important, learn from them, and then move forward. So getting out and shooting all that you can while you can, experimenting and trying new things, whatever you learn in step one, I think that's really important. It's the application part of this. I think the third really big one is to be kind to yourself then. We should be kind to ourselves in two really important ways. Being true to yourself, being genuine, that is a form of kindness. Be kind to yourself, be genuine about your craft. And this can apply to writing, it can apply to filmmaking, photography, painting, drawing, you name it. Anything that involves a creative journey. I think we need to try to be kind to ourselves by being true to ourselves first and foremost. I know that I sleep better when I know that I'm producing genuine, truthful content that is from me. And number two is we have to be kind to ourselves in being able to forgive our own mistakes. As I said earlier, don't sit around and torture yourself. Learn and apply and move on from those mistakes. I think that's a big one. But I think the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to get at with this first video is, I think, an often forgotten aspect of being a good photographer. So I think we need to understand why, the concept of why. And what I mean by this, I mean this in two very important ways. I think we should understand why we shoot the things and photograph the things that we do. And this doesn't happen overnight. This is a long-term process. I still struggle with it nearly every day when I'm either looking through my own work, looking at my website, my Instagram feed, my Lightroom catalog, or when I'm out shooting. Why am I taking a picture of these things? I think the other big one is to understand those photos and those photographers that we admire and the work they produce. Why do we gravitate toward those images and toward that work, toward that style or aesthetic or whatever it may be? You have to truly sit down and analyze what makes a photo great in your opinion. And again, I think it's also important to look at mediocre photographs and, quite frankly, terrible photographs, which in my case come from me. So I think we need to sit down and truly analyze our work, not just on a technical level or an aesthetic level or anything of that nature. We need to analyze why. Why is this a good photo? I could take a very crisp, clear, technically correct image of something, but it could be a horrible photo. And I think that has to do a lot with meaning. And remember that art is a subjective endeavor. Things will resonate with you that others will simply ignore, scoff at. But it's important to sit down and really critically think about why we admire the photographs that we do, the work that we love to consume, and also the work that we produce. And I think if I broke this down, it's analyze your own work and understand why we took the photo, what we liked about the photo originally, and why we liked it. I think we should keep these things in mind. And so I have a challenge. I'm challenging myself, and I would, if you want to join me, you're more than welcome to. But I think we should go through the list of why, with a particular photo of ours that perhaps we either love, we feel somewhat lukewarm about it, or we despise it. And I think we should sit down and look at a photograph and ask ourselves the questions: why did I take that photo? What do I like or dislike about it? And also, why does it resonate or not resonate with me? Does it have to do something with emotions, the emotions that I feel from that work? There is a lack of emotion or a lack of meaning or humor or any of those reasons. There's plenty of reasons to take a photograph. But I think we should always strive to ask ourselves why. So in summary, I think the whole point of this entire video is that in order to be a better photographer, we in some ways have to better understand ourselves, the world around us, and then how do we interact with that world around us. And so in a way, we are attempting to reverse engineer a photograph, but not the technical aspects of a photograph. We are trying to understand the concept and reverse engineer the concepts that we admire in our own work or in the work of others. And by doing this, we begin to better crystallize and understand what makes a photo good, bad, or mediocre to ourselves. The whole point of this in being a better photographer is I believe the best photographers in the world understand this why concept. So I want to challenge you, along with myself. Let's take one single photograph. It could be good, bad, etc. And let's analyze it and really ask ourselves why. I think the more we do this, the better off we will be and the better photographers we will become.